We just finished our last full scrimmage. And we'll still have a little competitive work and probably a few live periods, probably Monday and Tuesday of next week. But then it's pretty much all game prep from that point. So today was kind of our second preseason game, if you will, and big day for a lot of guys. We held some guys, got some guys a few reps, some guys we held completely. Because we got a lot of guys that we're trying to evaluate, and just like the NFL and preseason games, they got a lot of guys they're trying to get reps for. They kind of know what who's going to make the team, if you will, and then they cut people. Good news is we're not cutting anybody. We get to keep them, but we need to evaluate some of these guys. So this was a big day for a lot of guys, and I saw a lot of good things. I thought the biggest thing I was pleased with today is I thought our twos closed the gap a little bit. I thought we kind of went ones on twos all day today, and the last scrimmage I saw a pretty good gap, and again we held a few guys, but this scrimmage I saw some guys kind of make some strides and show that they belong. So a lot of good things. Again, another really competitive day. A lot of situational work. Again, we had an overtime period. We hit some short yardage. We had some special teams. Situational things that we worked today. We got a couple of good 2-minute drives, which was good to see, and then really kind of just some about 7 or 8 type one-offs, really special situational, like one play type things that can come up in the course of a game. So a lot of opportunity to just teach today, but guys pushed through. It was a good hot day. We were out here almost 3 hours, I guess, so a long day. But proud of the guys. They've really pushed through. Tomorrow will be a good solid workout tomorrow, a light workout. We'll take the pads off of them tomorrow, and then grade this tape, start making some decisions, and then really tomorrow is kind of breaking camp for us, if you will, just true camp mode. We'll give everybody off Friday and Saturday. Just kind of mental recharge and physical rest. So we started 2 weeks ago today, as far as so we've been together every day, all day for 14 days. So I know everybody's ready. So good day tomorrow to kind of clean up everything, and then kind of one last little day of some install stuff we need to do. Let them rest Friday, Saturday, and then we'll come back in Sunday afternoon, and we'll start our turning the page to the opponent prep. And still a couple competitive days Monday and Tuesday, a little bit of live work, start kind of pulling back there, and then they start school on Wednesday. So gotten a lot done, like where we are, and hopefully we can continue to stay healthy and keep heading in the right direction.
How would you say you're doing health-wise and your injuries?
We're good. Yeah, right now, we're pretty good. Everybody was good today, and it's been a really competitive, deal. I think we're, we track all that stuff, from a GPS standpoint and all that, and I think we're about 9%. I think was the last thing, maybe all the, more demand, if you will, going back all the way to I think 2017. So it's been a tough camp. It's been a taxing camp, and the guys have pushed through and they've responded. We're in a good shape. Nobody that has any long-term type of situation or anything that you guys don't know about.
You said the twos stepped up. Any one specifically?
I watched the tape, but there were several. I continue to be impressed with some of our young secondary, and I'm impressed with the backup backers. Those guys are starting to get better. Got some guys that have been flashing on the D-line really the whole time that I thought played with a little bit more discipline today. And then I thought our second offensive line today took a step forward. I was really encouraged by that. I thought they made a step. So we're going to test the fire alarms. Yeah, so a lot of guys. I think we got some guys. Receivers. I love what I'm seeing there, and the young guys. Tyler Brown continues to step up, and Tink. Those two guys have really done a nice job, and really gonna, I think, help us and add some depth. That's what y'all get for getting out of the heat.
Y'all like to relocate out to the step?
That's the question.
I think we should walk to the nearest stairway exit.
I think it's part of the recorded message.
Right here. I'm telling you, riveting.
Tune in at 6.
Y'all want to move it to the stairwell outside?
Sure.
I don't know how long they're going to go on this.
We pretty much, we worked in some a few days. We've gotten some one-on-one reps, and he did it, and he's done a great job. And he absolutely could play corner, but we feel great about our depth at corner. These guys have really stepped up for us. They've done a great job. And then what he's done offensively, he's kind of, once he started, said we need to coach him a little bit. He's taken to it. He's a natural. He's just a natural ball player. So he's made a lot of plays in camp, and he's shown that he's not overwhelmed. It's not too big for him. But he's a guy that really throughout the course of his career, if we needed him, he's always going to be available. So I'm really excited. We've seen enough to know that he can do it if we need.
What about Jamal and D? Just how have they progressed since scrimmages have been going on?
Yeah, I mean they're good. I think D has really taken a huge strides, and Jamal's coming. But both of them are good players, and we feel like we hit on both of them, and then Kobe McLeod as well. We think Kobe's made a lot of progress, and we're going to count on those 3 guys, and then Wade. So that's our 4 depth guys. They gotta play and be ready to go. Special teams, any situation. So this has been a really good camp because they've got a ton of work.
Shelton was a guy that really made me question in the spring. Avion, what has he done this fall? Also, Avion's really.
Yeah, I mean he's special. I mean really, I could say that about all 3 of those guys: Shelton, Strozier, and Avion. I think all 3 of those guys can play at a high level. They all have different attributes, and they all have different things that need to continue to work on. But all 3 can play. So we're really blessed there. You got Jay Lou, you got Sheridan, you got Toriano, and you got Nate. So it's a really, really good room. I know it's been a while since we've been in a situation that we're in, so I'm excited about it. All 3 of those freshmen have done a great job for us. And then Avion he's way wise beyond his years. He's physically and mentally, ready to play.
There's a mix with Toriano.
Oh yeah, they're all in the mix. Yeah, every day they're all in the mix. Every time we step on this field, there's nobody that's not in the mix. They're capable of competing with anybody, with our starters, backups. They can compete across the board.
With him on this over, what's the evaluation of that?
I feel good. I really do. I feel confident in the guys that we've been working there, and that we've got not just one, but we've got multiple answers. Not ready to roll out our starting lineup yet, but I feel good about the guys that have been working there, and that's Tristan and Marcus has gotten a good amount of work, and Sadler. I think all 3 of those guys can get the job done, and certainly Blake could bump over there as well if he needed to. Mitchell Mays. So one of our main objectives in this camp was to really solidify or tackle depth, and I feel great about all those guys. Tristan, Colin, Mitchell, Blake, who's over? It's 5 of them, 5 guys. So I feel good about the depth. Marcus. I think we got 5 guys for sure that could really function and win for us if we need it. So now we just gotta, decide how we want to roll it out, start, and then we'll go from there.
How's it Trotter's hamstring? Was he able to go to hold him back?
Well, we held him and Barrett today. We held a lot of those guys, but he's good. He'll be rolling. If we played today, he'll play. But we held several of those high snap guys, and because we just, like I said, we need to force the issue with some guys. And I'm pretty sure what Barrett and Jeremiah can do. And we've got a very physical camp. They've had a lot of work. So feel confident about where those guys are. We helped Tyler Davis today, XT, Maskell, just trying to, all those young ends, all those backers, all those D tackles, getting all those guys a bunch of work. So it's good for everybody.
And is it a knee injury for Burley?
For who?
For Big Burley?
Yeah, he's got nothing long term. Nothing long term. He's not going to have anything surgery, any surgical procedure, or anything. He's got lower body injury, but hopefully he'll be ready sooner or later. Might miss a game, but not anything that's going to keep him out for long term.
Dabo, how would you describe the level of trust that's growing between Cade and Garrett?
I think they've got a lot of trust. This has been going since January, so it's a lot of meetings, a lot of hours by the time you get to this point. So, it's great. Garrett's done an awesome job. The guys, I think, all have trust, not just in the staff, but they have trust in each other. And certainly, I think all trust Cade. He's done a great job of really, asserting himself as the leader and, just responding to whatever situation we put him in out here.
How did Cade look today?
Really good. Did a nice job. He's been outstanding the whole camp. He's the same guy. What I love about him is he can make a bad play and he'll bounce right back. He'll come right back. And I love that about him. He's not a guy. He's kind of like Deshaun in that regard. Deshaun would throw an interception in a heartbeat, right? But nobody panicked because we're going to score 40. And you just have that same feel with Cade. He's just he may throw a pick, but he's coming right back. He's just got the right mentality, and I love that about him. But he loves ball, he loves practice, he loves meetings, and he's just got this energy that kind of lifts everybody. So he's been really, really, really good. He's the key to us. He stays healthy. We got a chance to be a good football team.
That ability to bounce back, is that something he kind of developed as the starter now, or did you see that a little bit last year too?
I think it's just kind of how he's wired. Really, that's just his DNA coming up, and then now that he's the starter, there's not as much pressure on him as maybe last year. And a young guy, you're coming in, it's all new people, it's competitive, all these things, and you don't have quite as much opportunity. But I just think it's in his natural DNA. I think that's just who he is, man. He's just a glass half full kind of guy all the time.
I guess Garrett was talking about Shipley being a very versatile guy. He can use a lot of different ways. We didn't want to overload him. How much have you guys been able to fill up Shipley's play in terms of using him in different places?
Yeah, we held him today. He and Maffa. Again, I love our backs. That's one. If you ask me about one position on this team, it's running back. These backs, Dominique, Keith Adams, Jay Haynes, and Jarvis. Wow. And that's really what I wanted to see today. I wanted to see these four backs kind of take Shipley and Maffa off, and let's let the Strecco. Strecco popped 2 or 3 runs today. We got a really good room, man, and I'm really proud of them. And those guys are doing a good job of competing. And Shipley is obviously a guy that can do a lot of things for sure. And, I think as we get into the course of the season, you start game planning, and then it comes down to just getting guys touches. We're going to go in every game with a plan to make sure Shipley's touching the ball and Maffa. I think both of those guys could be 1,000-yard rushers. If we have the type of season that we want to have. But certainly Shipley's going to be involved in a lot of things. We're going to screen it to him, we're going to hand it to him, we're going to throw it to him, and he's going to return it. So, I don't think we put too much on his plate. I think he's one of those guys you can't give him enough.
How much progress has Lincoln made?
A lot. He's done a good job. I'm confident with him and Trent. I think we got 3 centers. Trent's played a lot of guard, and he's also bumped out and played a little right tackle and done a good job. So I think we've got some flexibility there. Lethical could also play guard, but they've done a good job because I don't really notice them. When I'm noticing the center, it's usually not good. They're just doing their job, and I like that. I think Dietrich took a step forward today. Not a center, but he's a guy I noticed a little bit today. It's hot, and again, 14 days in, kind of guy. Everybody's got sea legs, and just kind of good to see him push through. tough day. Got a lot of reps.
Little Barnes, with so many talented guys in front of him and around him, what is your outlook for him this year? What is
He's going to play. He'll be on special teams. A lot of these guys, their biggest role initially might be special teams. I mean, you got to have. I mean, that's a third of the game, and you can't have all of our starters playing every special team snap too. So you got to have guys that can, have big roles in that regard. And certainly, I think he's be a core special teams guy. But I mean, I think he plays early. I mean, he can compete with anybody we have. Any veteran we have. I mean, he's a really talented young player who gets it. And he hasn't played, but I think he's game ready, and I don't think we'd hesitate at all to put him in the game. And I think he can play multiple spots, probably 3 different spots, and that gives him, his ability to really understand things, gives him, a little more opportunity than maybe some other young guys.
Dabo, you break another camp here. I'm curious how camp has changed for you over your career as a head coach. Maybe not your first ever camp, but how similar, how different are you in your approach and your personality and in your role with camp as you look at it now to when you started?
Well, I mean, a lot's changed. I mean, obviously, you go back to when I first started. I mean, it was 2-a-days, like real 2-a-days, like real pads. And it was different deal. So the rules have changed as far as the parameters of camp. So we've had to adapt and adjust to that. But my approach, my temperament, the expectations, none of that's changed because it takes what it takes. You can't change what it takes, and so there's all those things have not changed at all. Camp is. I love camp because it's the one time of year that we are together all day. I mean, from morning until late at night, we're together. And it's just to me, it's just a magical time with your team, and it can make or break you as far as what gets developed in camp. The chemistry, the togetherness, all those type of things. Everybody really understanding their roles, buying into the team, buying into what it takes, all those things. So none of that has changed. The biggest change would be just kind of the format of what we can do from a practice standpoint. That's changed drastically over the years. As we gain more knowledge and learn more things and whatever. And so that part's different. But that's about it.
With the 2-way guys like Tank and coaching those guys in your career, have they mostly getting into one spot after a year or so, or have they consistently kind of waffled offense defense? They settle into a spot usually?
Well, if you go back, Adam Humphries was a guy that kind of his whole career, he was our emergency corner, DB guy. Ray was the same way. In fact, we got lean one of his years, we got real lean, and he had to, I think he played about a whole game against NC State maybe one year. So he was always a guy we kind of kept in the mix. Obviously we had DK early on as a receiver, moved him. TJ Green came in here, played receiver as a freshman, moved him to safety. So it just depends, from it's a case-by-case deal, and sometimes it's just based on the need of your team, an opportunity for that player for the long term. And, so then you get a kid like Tink who we've seen enough in camp to know, again, he can do it. I mean, he can line up and play corner in a heartbeat, but we feel great about the guys we have. And then what we've seen with him offensively, we've been just like we started him off as an offensive guy, he was learning, and then just, hey, we'll cross-train him. So I don't see that changing in the near future. Anything can change down the road, but, it just is a case-by-case basis for those guys. Vic Beasley, was a guy, I had no idea what he was. I was like, all right, we'll try you at tight end, right? In his first year, I'm like, he can't play tight end. And then we're like, let's play him at linebacker. He looks like a linebacker, right? And then it's like, he's probably not a linebacker. And, I think it was his third year, I'm like, with the Marion Hobby, and I said, hey, best thing this guy does is run and change direction. And let's just let him get after the quarterback on third down. I think he led our team in sacks that year as a redshirt sophomore. maybe played less than 100 plays, and he bought into it, and boom, here we go. So sometimes it just takes a little while of the process to really figure out, what's the best position for some of these guys. You just got to coach them a little while.
As you talked about on the ACC network, that 2 defensive linemen got second round grades. I guess those were Root and Tyler. What are they getting out of this 5th year? In what ways can they improve? Are you guys getting more from them than they are another year of college?
Well, you have to ask them that. They both wanted to come back because they wanted to. First of all, they want to win a national championship. That's something personal to them that they feel like that they've left on the table here. They don't feel like they've maximized their time here. Rook in particular felt like that. He's got first round ability, and just another year of development. And they both wanted to. They loved playing for Nick. They wanted to have another year playing for Nick. So I think there's a lot of factors, but they certainly didn't stay because they hate it here. I think they've enjoyed their journey, and I think they just wanted one more year to really better prepare themselves for the long term of their NFL career. And that's just kind of how both of those guys are wired. There's a lot of guys in a hurry to get there to be a backup, and those guys are, I think, a little bit more focused on trying to play a long time, and they want to be. I think they want to be in a position to maybe start as rookies. And that's all their decisions, and totally on their own. I thought they were both leaving for sure. I didn't think any of those guys that came back were coming back. Putnam was the only one that I felt like we might get back, but the rest of them I thought were all leaving. And so it's been really good having all those guys back in camp, and man, they've been locked in, they've been focused, so it's been good to see.
You mentioned Nick Easton. I talked to him a couple weeks ago about his weight loss journey. He took that into talking about vulnerability. Can you actually not hear me? It's the first time ever
Yeah.
someone can hear me.
Got something going on.
He's talked about the vulnerability that he shares with the guys and how valuable that is. And players have talked about how that changes everything. Can you just speak to the character of Nick Easton and how him being a guy like that who can share his vulnerability and open up just only further affects and benefits your players and those young men?
Yeah, well, I think that ultimately is what makes a great coach is the ability to connect, with the player. And Nick is as good as I've ever been around when it comes to, connecting with his players. And he's just transparent, he's transparent. He will tell his story, right? He knows how to relate to these guys, and he will use his story to do that. And he's got an amazing journey that he's been on. But Nick is a guy he was Christian Wilkins before Christian Wilkins, right? He left here, I think he was the first guy to leave here with a master's degree, defensive lineman in 3.5 years. And he was just a captain, he's just one of the best people you'll ever meet. Nick would be an amazing head coach. He's got everything that you could possibly want to be a head coach. He really gets it on all levels. And, so I think for people to really trust you and to buy into who you are, they got to know who you are. And, you've got to be able to be transparent and open up. And he really, he's always, that comes natural to him. It comes natural to him. And so, these guys, they love him for sure. He does a great job, and he loves his players. That's the other mark of a great coach is, just love your players, and he loves Clemson. So he's done an unbelievable job for us since he got here.
Speaking of love on the team, Sheridan Jones talked about loving the offense, like really just loving them because they make them better.
Yeah.
Can you speak on that, please?
Yeah, this is a game that you practice a lot more than you play. You get to play 15 days if it's perfect, right? So you got to love practice, and it's what you practice against is what prepares you. And I really believe one of the reasons we've been so consistent for a long time around here is because practice is hard, and it's just good competition. You get exposed, on the practice field. So you have to come. You can't take a day off. And that competitiveness, drives performance and forces guys to. They got to get better. So we're really fortunate that way because we can challenge each other on both sides of the ball. And you got to get better. I mean, Sheridan's a guy now. He's on. This is his 5th year, and he's seen a lot of dudes over his time. So he's got a visual in his head of what it looks like. I mean, he's been covering guys here for a long time, and it's not easy. And vice versa, with the receivers going against the DBs here. So it makes everybody better.
It's always been Davis, Allen, Jake Briningstool, tight end. How have you seen Jake handle being the guy?
Oh, Jake's been ready to be the guy since he got here. Sometimes it's hard to be patient, right? Davis Allen was pretty good, and I think Jake, he wanted to be the guy, but he wasn't ready to be the guy. He just maturity-wise wasn't quite there, and physically wasn't quite there, but was still able to be a productive player for us. And man, he had a great guy like Davis Allen to really show him. And man, I'm really proud of Brennan. I mean, he's done great. I mean, he is sky's the limit for this guy. I mean, he's got his body in a great spot. He's worked really hard. He's matured. He's smart. He doesn't make a lot of mental errors. He's got elite ball skills. But he really gets it, and he's hyper competitive. I mean, he is a really competitive dude. So, I mean, there's no limit to him. I mean, he's got 2 years left, and I mean, he could be as good as we've had, or the best. He's got that type of ability in him. So hopefully he can stay healthy, and if he does, I mean, you're going to see that number 9 making a lot of plays this year.